a little bit different on the tire, compared to the other short tracks. So this place is just a little bit unique, and I'm sure that's why they switched it up a little bit for here.
Come down here, Mark.
Mark Carroll, PRN. Kevin, how do you balance the seat? We're in the second half of the season. You're going to a lot of these places now for the final time. New Hampshire, going on to Pocono next week. How do you balance it? You just want to stay in the zone competitively, but also trying to enjoy some of this as you go through the last time?
Yeah, it's really been no issue. We've had such a laid out plan for so long, and all that was intended to know that you're going to do things, but also put yourself in a position to be competitive. We've done that pretty much every week except for Chicago and North Wilkesboro, and you just have to grind away, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast with this particular car. You're just going to have some weeks that you're off. So for the most part, we've been competitive. We've had a couple chances to win races and just hadn't had that all come together and be able to get to victory lane. So from the competition side, I think everything has gone well, and the rest of it we planned for and knew that it would be more work than what a normal season would be. But I think there's some places that you look at and realize everything that you've been able to accomplish throughout the years, and you can kind of go back. That's the cool part about this year, is you can let your guard down and go back and say, yeah, that has been a good racetrack for us, and we have been fortunate to have some success, and this is one of those places that you can check that box and let your guard down and say, yeah, it's been a great racetrack for us, and we have had some success. So that makes it fun, because you really don't. There's nothing to hide anymore. You don't have to hide what you think or about really anything, just because of the fact that next year is different. And but for years, I didn't want everybody to really know what I thought or what I was thinking, or know too much about you, and because you can put yourself in a position to where people know your weaknesses and strong points, and so the less you say, the less they know. So that's not really relevant this year, and that's been fun to kind of just let your guard down and say what you think.
As consistent as you guys have been, do you feel like you're building towards win, that if you get the right circumstances, you guys are ready to capitalize?
I do, and you look back at Nashville, and the car was so fast. I think we ran the leaders down by like 4 seconds, and then the tire went flat. So we had that same thing at Phoenix and a couple other places, and just hasn't worked out. So you just got to keep grinding away, and hopefully you get some things that go your way like we did last year, and keep the cars running good, and we'll put yourself in position and go from there.
We'll come down here to Holly.
Hey Kevin, Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. I just wondered if you feel any sort of intensity picking up as we're inching a little bit closer to the playoffs, or is that not even something that exists anymore, because there's so much high pressure and stakes every week you're out there, but there's still some people that are below the cutoff line, not like you, that need a win to get in. Do you feel that kind of intensity picking up with each of these races, and do you expect that this weekend?
I don't feel like really anything changes anymore. I think there's probably some desperation. I think, as you saw with some of the circumstances at Atlanta, with people staying out, hoping for rain, and Chicago, trying to put yourself in a position with pit cycle and things like that. So, those are just there's definitely some Hail Marys. They work every once in a while, so you never know, right? So it's definitely different with this car, because it is so intense every week with the restarts and what you have to do to pass, and so for us it doesn't really change, because in 2015 we just decided to race every week like it was a playoff week, and that way you don't have to. I never feel like if you have to switch gears, you're in big trouble, because it's a different way to race.
Are there any final questions for Kevin? We'll go to Dustin.
Dustin on NBC Sports. Last couple of weeks, maybe not intended, that Atlanta went less than 300 miles, and Chicago was only scheduled 220 miles, went less than 200 miles. You've been around long enough where it was like it's 500 miles, 400 miles. The idea of shortening races was, you're not supposed to do that. But the idea that all these, there are these races that are 300 miles or a bit fewer than 300 miles, are there learnings to take from that, and that what the racing is like, what it can be, what it can mean for the sport, that is it better, it's shorter, it can be better?
I think Atlanta needed to go all the way with the way that the stages broke up and everything. I think Chicago was scheduled to be too long. And I think, if we start a race in the rain, we need to have a time limit or something, because the rain laps are so much slower. And it just winds up taking all day. But I think that 75 laps at Chicago would have been fine. I think that everybody will probably go back and look and review and see that the shorter race at that particular place would have been fine. And I'm still of the opinion, if the race starts in wet weather, that we should, if it's on an oval or you're in hurry up mode like we were at Atlanta, that it should just have the rolling stages like we do on the road courses. I think you should have that option to clarify that before the race, because we might have been able to get the whole race in at Atlanta if we didn't stop for the stages. So probably not, but it would have given you a better opportunity. So I think you need to have those hurry up modes and possibly talk about just time. But time really became of the essence at Chicago, just because of the fact that it was going to get dark. So. But I think that race being 75 laps would have been fine, even in the dry.
We'll come down here to Dan.
Hey, Dale, Stevie. I think when you talked about spending more time with your son in his racing career next year, what about like KHI? What about SHR? Are you going to be trying to involve at all behind trying to grow KHI? Are you stepping away from that for any reason, or other business ventures, other interests?
Yeah, so there's really nothing happening at Stewart Haas Racing. For me personally, but I think from a management standpoint, we've gone and restructured all that to be able to spend more time with the drivers and the things that they're doing and the teams, and we will run several late models and super late models out of our shop next year, and so that's already in process. So we've been going through the new look of what everything will look like as far as KHI and KHI management, and we opened up an Easy Go dealership in Mooresville. So that stuff's kind of like the retirement stuff. It's all been in play for the last year and a half as to what that looks like when Phoenix is over. All that stuff will be functioning already by the end of the year. So so there's already a few cars that are in the shop. And we've been transitioning through facilities, as far as storage and shop space and things like that.
Go down here to Claire.
Good question. I was thinking when you got the gun that we go to a lot of tracks for other drivers, and they're giving them rocking chairs in the last few years. I think about Gordon. I think about some of the people that retired. I don't know if you said no, or if they think you're so badass, they're like, oh, we'll give him a gun. He ain't getting no rocking chairs. We haven't seen any of that, right?
Well, I did get one rocking chair, but that was from my friend Jake Owen, and it's got, So I do have a few rocking chairs that have come from other places. But that's what I want to be. I want to be full of energy and do things in a different way and make a difference from the TV booth and with our drivers and teams that we work with from the management side of things. And people think, they're like, why would you open up a retail business? I'm like, well, everybody's done everything for me for my whole entire racing career. So it's fun to be involved on a daily basis of, sales and marketing and all the things that come with a retail business. So that's really more because of a relationship and for me to give me something to do. But I've learned that, and Dale Jr. warned me of this, that I would be busier when I got out of the car than I was when I was in the car, because in the car you have an excuse to not do things. Out of the car you have no excuse to not to do anything. So I'm learning that quickly, but I will have control of my schedule after I get done with the first half in Fox as far as what I do on the weekends, but during the week I have to work. It's just, my wife would kill me if I didn't work. If I was home every day, I would be a big problem. We would have way too many projects going on. So it's going to be fun because I really enjoy the race team part of it. I always said that I would never do the race team stuff again. But I enjoy, I really enjoy just watching the car at Caraway with lane rigs in it and watching everybody work. And now it's to the point of now we're out hiring people and putting people in the shop and racing. So yeah, the good news is it doesn't really matter where it goes, so as long as it's fun and we can enjoy it. And I really enjoy the group of owners that we have with the Cars Tour and the impact that we've made on short track racing. And so starting to realize just the impact that you can make for the racers and the sport in general to help progress it in a great direction. And so that's been kind of a learning curve of the impact that you can have on things. So we'll continue to go forward with that and just try to help people in whatever way we can to make racing great.
We're gonna go in the back to Tad, and then to Dustin, and then right here in the middle.
Hey Kevin, Tad with NASCAR.com. You mentioned the late model stuff. Colin Bush was at Lee USA Speedway last night. You've seen a lot more Cup drivers running late model stuff. Are there any bucket list races that you guys want to run with your late model program next year that now that you have the time to do it, you're going to be able to?
I mean, the plan right now is to run, a lot of those races at Snowball Derby, Slinger, Nashville, however that all lays out. It just depends. We have, the race teams are primarily going to be used for the management company drivers and the things that they want to do as we go forward. So, the teams are really kind of an extension of what we'll do from the management side to give them the opportunity to get in good cars and be safe and do the things that we can do, but also help the Cars Tour and be able to put Cup guys in there when they want to come race. So I don't know that it's necessarily for me. I could honestly wind up not driving another race next year if it winds up that busy, because I enjoy watching them. But I don't know how I'll feel about that in June next year after you've not done anything for 6 months. So I think that's kind of a moving target, but I want our management and those guys to be able to have the opportunity to go do what they want to do and do it in good cars.
Go to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Since you're talking about being able to be more open about things and opinions in your career this last year, who was a driver throughout your career, and obviously it's stretched over a long period of time, that the driver was that pushed you the most, that made you want to be better? Who was the biggest pain in the butt? Who was
Well, I'm still driving, so there is a limit. But I thought it was always fun when Kyle had his teams, and him and Hornaday were going at it, and we would run races just to aggravate him, just for fun. When I would drive it, and I think he would do the same, and it drove him into building his own teams and getting out of the 51 truck and building his own teams, and that was just a really fun period of time, because that would carry over from Friday to Saturday to Sunday, and we'd run over each other, and as we've gone through the years, you've learned to respect each other, and I think it had a great there was a great rivalry there for a number of years, whether it was on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So it was that to me was a great period of time of being able to to push the limit and also have fun with that particular piece of the puzzle.
So stick it to him.
We stuck it to him a few times.
We'll wrap right here in the front.
Hi, Kevin. Gerald Covey with Northeast Sports News. That sort of dovetail off the previous question, but how important do you see the role of you guys, what you and Dale are doing with the Cars Tour and these guys coming down and racing at the short track level? How important do you see you drivers as a bridge sort of between these short tracks and NASCAR for fans?
Well, I think the most important thing is using our platform to expose who those short track drivers are. I think and Josh Berry's been a huge part of that, and being able to recognize that there are a lot of really good short track racers, and Josh being able to go in the 4 cars and it's not a paid for situation gives a lot of those guys a lot of hope, and that it can be done, and it can be a part of just doing the right thing being successful and doing the right things on and off the racetrack. So we have a lot of great racers across the country racing at these short tracks, and I think for us, our focus is the Cars Tour, and as you see from the four of us, and on a weekly basis, just promoting the races and when they're on, and if some of the guys and gals have fun tweets or posts on Instagram, then you see Dale or myself, reposting that stuff and just trying to give them a platform to be able to have a shot and really just try to help them understand what is actually supposed to happen, from a social standpoint, from how you act and how you drive, and I don't think we've had that over the last few years, and I think that's why some of the racing gets sloppy, at the short track levels, because they get away with it, and we're not going to let that happen, and I think that's important.
All right, Kevin, thank you for your
Yep.
time today. Good luck this weekend.
This is Harrison Burton, driver the number 21. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check out one of these two videos beside me. Visit frontstretch.com for more racing content.